We have Shadow of the Colossus. It's a first here on the channel, but hey, you can't go wrong with Shadow of the Colossus, am I right? But yeah, today we'll be checking out this video, which is called Decade Long Quest for Shadow of the Colossus Last Secret. Very interesting. So just to give a brief rundown of my history with this game. So I played this game for the first time in 2020 during COVID. 2020 or 2021, one of the two, I can't remember. Yeah, I had never played it, and the first time I played it was the remastered PS4 version. And it was an amazing experience. I wish I was doing videos back in the day so I could have uploaded my gameplay reaction and whatnot to the game, but I could most definitely play it again. I'd be so down. But yeah, it's crazy that I never played this game because these are my kind of games. My favorite game for the longest of time. It's still maybe even to this day my favorite game if we like to factor nostalgia into the equation. And that is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And I get a lot of similarities from that game to this game, especially when it comes to the boss battles and the arenas and everything. The whole scale and the whole aesthetic of it, it's just so cool to me. But yeah, without further ado, let's try to uncover, I guess, the last big secret to this game, which, to be honest, I have no idea what it could be because I played it and I never went back to see the lore or anything about the game, any secrets or any of that. So I'm very intrigued as to what I'm about to see because I do not know. To this day, I don't even understand what the hell I saw in the ending of it. I'm not gonna lie. I need to see a lore video on this game so bad. If you guys would want to see that, let me know down below because I would love to do that. Anyways, without further ado, the decade-long quest for Shadow of the Colossus Last Secret. Let's go.
This is not a general discussion thread. If you wish to chat, please confine it to the rest of the boards. Thank you.
Okay, damn.
This is how forum user Ascadia started his post on the PlayStation forum.
Okay, I thought it was Homeboy. I was like, damn. That's a great way to read us.
Quest for the Last Big Secret, Mysteries of Shadow of the Colossus. He continued,
So beautiful.
Fumito Ueda is infamous for his attention to the most minute, intricate detail.
Assuming
Such
that's the
appears
director
to
of the
be
game?
case with most of the Forbidden Lands. Ruins lay toppled in the most likely angle. Coastlines bear signs of erosion. Even the dress on Mono's lifeless body is gently pushed back and forth by the wind.
Didn't even notice that.
It is this
Okay,
same
I'll look
attention
back
to
into
detail,
it.
however, that would be the inattentive gamer's downfall.
In his 1,000-word first post, Ascadia laid out what he called
Damn,
the
Ascadia.
theory of intersecting points. In the opening of the 2005 PS2 game, a narration describes the origins of the game's world as the resonance of intersecting points. Most assumed that this, like much of the game, was simply metaphorical, but Ascadia thought differently. He identified 4 locations in the game's world, illustrated as glyphs on tiles in the central temple. He placed those locations on a map, and, like the opening voiceover instructed,
They
found
intersected.
the resonance of intersecting points.
Okay.
This, he said, was the clue to the game's final secret.
He might be onto
The
something.
thread
Let's see if
opens
he
simply
cooked.
enough. The first response asks if it's possible to shine a light from Wander's sword directly onto the intersection of those points.
That'd be
A
sick.
few later, a poster asks if it's possible to use a
The hell?
unique item for anything. The thread picks up steam with more people theorizing about unorthodox elements of the game's geometry, and about 5 pages later,
look at
Ascadia
the
summarizes
amount of-
what they found, what they need
the
to
amount
do,
of replies.
and what it could all mean in the context of this last great secret. In his summary, his enthusiasm is obvious.
I
think
would be
we're
so
really close to
I would be
figuring
so
this out,
happy
my
too.
friends. Just a bit more.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm very much. Wow, this thread looks like it goes on forever. Okay, I'm very much intrigued.
The thread, Quest for the Last Big Secret, Mysteries of Shadow of the Colossus, is 562 pages long.
Pages?
Or 5,662 individual posts. The first post was in December of 2007. The last was in March of 2016. The thread could
That
fill
many
a
years?
book. In fact, one of the forum members claims to have had it printed and bound.
Damn. Then what were they talking
I know
about?
It seems kind of silly, but
That
has anyone
long?
tried doing all the things they've previously tried on their 16th playthrough?
Forum user Snoozy wondered this on
16.
January 21st, 2008, and the suggestion is both absurd and entirely
Yeah.
in line with the hundreds of questions that were rolling into the thread.
No, so they're
Snoozy's
just spewing
idea,
out just
like
random
many of
theories.
them,
Oh,
makes a
okay,
sort of
that makes
twisted
sense.
sense. There
Why it
were,
was so
after
long.
all, 16 Colossi in the game. 16 was clearly an important number in the world of Shadow of the Colossus.
I
and
guess,
the game's
I guess
last
he
big
has a fair
secret would
point, I guess.
obviously be well hidden, so why not? Games have hidden secrets obscenely well in the past. From the first Easter egg in Adventure to the secret characters in Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat had a lot of that.
Without blocking once and then perform a fatality. In addition, the player must be at the pit stage and a flying object must appear in the background.
That's crazy specific.
The quest to
Damn.
find hidden content is almost as old as the medium itself. Especially in the 21st century, Easter eggs have been in an arms race against the hive mind of the internet. Developers can hide content deeper and deeper within a game, but devoted fans
I
with
need to see
infinite
all of
time
these
between
videos.
them will almost always find it.
Damn,
To
because
really
this
hide
game,
an Easter egg
so
requires
good.
an almost imperceptible trail of breadcrumbs.
7 years?
Previous to Shadow of the Colossus, Fumito Ueda and his team made Ico, a melancholy game about a boy and
I've
a girl
never played
escaping
this
from
game.
a castle
Is
together.
it worth it? Let me
Ico
know.
was understated,
Let me know down below.
minimalist, cohesive. Ico also had a lightsaber. Did you know Ico has a lightsaber? And it's
Really?
not just that. To get the lightsaber, you have to take this ball and shoot some freaking hoops, and when you make it, the laser sword gets
What?
chucked through the window with all the grace of an empty soda can.
That's
So there
random as
wasn't
hell.
quite evidence for a last secret in Colossus, but there was a lot of evidence-adjacent material.
Just grabbing his head.
There was a mythical interview that Ueda did in which he said there was still more to be found in the game.
Why is it
Or
mythical?
At least that's what people on the forum said. The thread was moving so fast in the early days that sources were just kind of
Ah, that's why it's mythical.
But more than anything, Shadow of the Colossus just feels like a game that harbors mysteries.
It
Why
does.
build endless
It's one of the
acres
most
brilliantly
mysterious
realized
games I've
nature,
ever felt.
Then fill them with nothing.
Exactly.
On a standard playthrough of the game, you'll barely see half of the Forbidden Lands. I, someone who's played this game more times
Wait,
than I
what?
can count, still find myself in places.
Wait, only a
and
bit. Wait,
think,
wait, wait, wait. Did he say?
don't think
Wait,
I've
wait,
ever
wait,
been
wait. Did
here
he say if you play it the first time you only see half of it? Well, I've only played it once, and I only explored half. Because if that's so, I'm going the fuck back immediately right now and finishing the last half of that game.
Intensity and detail of the world, it seems almost inevitable that there are things that have yet to be found. As Ascadia said,
It is this same attention to detail, however, that would be the inattentive gamer's downfall.
and
He did say that.
secrets had already been found in the game. Ones
What the-
that seemed
what?
to point to some deeper mystery.
I've never gone
For
to
instance,
that wall.
the secret garden. Now, the
Secret
existence
ga-
of the garden wasn't
Hold
a secret.
up, hold-
it features
what?
prominently in the game's final cutscene, but with enough stamina, an amount that could really only be achieved by multiple playthroughs of the game, you could climb up the outside of the temple, an agonizingly long climb,
could do
and
that?
reach this garden. In the garden, you'll come across the same fruits found in the game's wider world, but these fruits would permanently harm your vitality instead of helping it.
What?
From
Why?
this garden, you could run across
No
the
way you
bridge
could get
that
to the
spans
bridge.
a full half the world in length.
Bro,
After reaching the end, you could
wait,
even
wait, wait,
see
pause it,
out
pause it,
into
pause
the
it, pause it,
lands-
pause it, pause it, pause it. Just hold up, just wait. This entire time, you're telling me I could have gone to the bridge? That was the single one thing that I was so let down. I was like, I want to go on that bridge so bad. It's just there. It's just there, you know? It's been there the entire game. It's just staring at me, you know? I need to see what's on this bridge, what's on the other side. I just want to gallop with the horse, just travel along it, something, you know? So you're telling me the entire time I could have gone on the bridge? What? Oh, it just got better. It got better. This game is legendary.
But these fruits
easy to
would
me.
permanently harm your
Climb,
vitality.
and then you
instead
find a
of helping it.
garden.
From this
What?
garden, you could run across the bridge that spans a full half the world in length.
The
After
heck?
reaching the end, you could even see out into the lands beyond. A powerful wind would always blow you back. And even within this secret, there were further secrets.
What?
There was a demo of Shadow of the Colossus, and this demo also contained the garden. But in the demo, the garden was different and weird.
Why?
In the main game, the garden holds nothing but pure nature. In the demo's garden, there was also a headless body.
And it's T-posing too.
These
What
discoveries
the
were all
hell?
known
That's so
about before
random.
Ascadia's thread, but you can see the logic in thinking there must be more. Why hide the garden so completely if there was nothing to do there? Why allow us to get so tantalizingly close to leaving the Forbidden Lands?
I didn't even know
Why
you
the
could do all
hell
that.
did the demo have a headless body?
So many questions.
Furthermore,
But
there
this is
are
what
the
this
extra
game
items
is.
from the game's
This
time
feels
attack
so
mode.
ambiguous, you
After
know?
beating
So
the game once,
mysterious.
players could attempt to slay each Colossus under a stricted deadline.
Oh,
Each pair
really?
of colossi defeated, the game would award a new item, and some of these were fairly
New
straightforward.
item?
A mask that did more damage, or a map that showed the locations
Really?
of all the game's fruit.
I did not
Others
get
were
any of these
significantly
items.
more unusual.
At
Bomb
least I don't
arrows,
remember.
a harpoon, a sword that reflected the sun even in the dark, a parachute that,
we had
if
that,
used correctly,
and the parachute, I
Edwin's
think, at least.
sword, a clear reference to Eco and that game's arch-villain.
Queen's sword?
These items all held gameplay benefits, sure, but for players who had proven themselves able to slay every Colossus in record time, the ability to kill slightly more efficiently seemed anticlimactic. There had to be something more, right? With all this wind at their backs, a growing
I have a
number of
feeling that
players
there's gonna be
scoured the
absolutely
minutia
nothing.
of
I just have a
Colossus's world.
feeling
Although
that there is gonna
Ascadia
be no
had named the
secret.
threat,
Watch.
it took a couple more months.
This is gonna
for someone,
suck, but I guess it
a
fits the theme of this game.
mid-size D, to find a true name for themselves.
Nice.
Keep on scouring the land, secret seekers.
Of all
Secret
the ideas
seekers, eh?
thrown out, Ascadia's original theory of intersecting points still feels
Yeah,
the most
what happened to
solid.
that theory?
In the
Why
secret
don't we go
garden,
visit the
as
place?
well as the outside of the temple and other stonework in the game, find 4 glyphs that corresponded to places in the world. Sort of. Each one is heavily abstracted and shown from directly above, but his illustrations are convincing. This one could be the 2 tall spires that Wander walks between when first entering the Forbidden Lands. This one shows the wall of columns in the 15th Colossus's
top.
arena. When taken together, the glyphs form a perfect cross. And the intersection of the cross lies directly over the sunken lake bed in which you fight Celosia, the game's
check it
11th
out.
boss. Celosia is unique for a number of reasons. It's by far
Celosia
the
again?
smallest Colossus
Oh,
you
the
fought.
little rhino?
The fight takes place at the bottom of a deep pit, the only one of its kind in the game. To defeat it, you have
Yeah,
to use a
the
blazing
boss arena
torch,
was a
the
little bit
only
weird in this one, I
time
remember.
You use a temporary item like this. Of
Yeah, that
course,
took me
none
forever to
of this
figure
was
out
as
the
enthralling as the
freaking
massive
the
door in the
torch.
back of the arena, bricked up and endlessly curious. It's a genuinely compelling theory, based on just enough evidence to seem like an intentional treasure map. Game design is typically utilitarian by necessity. Making a game is hard and expensive. You don't build a giant stone door for no reason, right?
Yes, he does have a point.
But just as soon as
I have a feeling
Ascadia
that they
posted
just
his
didn't
theory, the
finish it
thread
in
was
time or
inundated
whatever.
by other questions
Left
and
it.
theories, many of which
Forgot about
seemed
it.
equally valid. What were those rings in the desert, and why were they positioned in such a specific way? That beach, the one that looks like it's from Eco, that has to be related somehow. As a matter of fact, is that the castle from Eco in the distance as seen from the top of the bridge? And the hole that Dorman speaks through?
Many
Why
secrets,
can't
so many
that be seen
questions.
from the secret garden?
True.
These unanswered questions form one of the pillars of Shadow of the Colossus's design. You were meant to feel like a stranger in a strange land, and the
Yes,
game's
and that's
sparse
exactly how
dialogue
it feels.
provides
It's
character
nutty.
motivations rather
It's
than a
crazy how it
comprehensive
actually feels like
backstory.
that.
And because of how little text there is, everything could be something. A decade ago, I remember reading a 25,000-word plot and theory analysis on GameFAQs, one that sought to find answers for questions like, why is Wander's horse so big? And does Mono
Okay.
become the queen in Eco? Of course, there's virtually no evidence to base anything on, but these conversations
just
led to some
Throwing
legitimately
shit and seeing
moving
whatever
theories.
sticks, right?
Wander's horse is too big for him. But what if their mismatch is because they've been bonded since birth, growing and learning together and forming a connection far more important than any size discrepancy? There's no evidence to discredit this
Okay.
reading, and it makes many of the game's climactic beats hit even harder. But there's no getting around it. The Secret Seekers didn't want interesting headcanon. They wanted substance.
Exactly,
They
that's what
wanted
I want too.
something huge. They wanted
I'm intrigued
well,
right
they
now.
wanted a Colossus. It's well documented that Fumito Ueda originally planned 48 giants to battle in the game. Before cutting it
48?
down to 24 and then 16.
What?
Was it
48
that
would've been so
inconceivable
sick.
that Shadow of the Colossus could
They
contain
need to make a
one
sequel.
more for the most dedicated of players?
That would be so sick if it did.
Several months in, the
I
theories
doubt
were
it,
getting
though.
wilder.
It would be.
Flight became an obsession.
I
for
never
some
got
by
the- I
careful
never
use of
found
the
out how to do
parachute
that. I
item,
tried
for
so many
others
times,
by
but was never
grabbing
able to
onto
do
the
it.
feet of a bird and hoping. Players obsessed with the desert rings noticed that the sword stuck in the sand the same way it's stuck in a Colossus. Was there some
What
hidden
the hell?
button to hit in
Yeah,
the
that
dunes?
is random as hell. Why can you do
Disputes
that
among
there?
seekers occasionally broke out on the forum. Some explored higher and farther than ever by exploiting glitches in the game's physics system, while others argued that Ueda would never have required a glitch to find the last great secret.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But overall, attitudes remained remarkably positive, like a doomsday cult that had their faith redoubled with every faulty prediction. The thread looked to any source for legitimacy. One user, Chango Martinez, noticed that they had been awarded Post of the Week on the PlayStation forums. That has got to be some kind of hint from Sony, right? Perhaps the most esoteric rabbit hole the Secret Seekers fell down was that of literary illusion, and this was a topic of discussion since the very beginning of the thread. Ascadia's original post features this impressive
Ascadia, look what you started, bro.
Gamic connections.
Got a whole cult over here, my
Show
guy.
41, a creature called the Leviathan is described. Some translations say whale, although the text clearly calls it a sea serpent. So whale, Leviathan, and the serpent.
Yeah,
are
I
all
always got
used
confused.
interchangeably.
It was
This
always
is
like a
relevant
snake,
because
but
defeating
sometimes
certain
like
number of
a
colossi
whale.
and hard time attack unlocks the harpoon of thunder. This is important because when
What?
Dorman is describing Hydrus, he also says a ripple of thunder lurks underwater. The harpoon's namesake could very well be a
I haven't even seen the harpoon. How do you even get that?
Hydrus is meant to resemble a sea serpent.
As the thread's pages escalated into the double, then triple digits, the number of possible connections to other myths and stories escalated as well. One user asked if they could scald Hydrus with a burning stick just as Hercules defeated the Hydra. Another, Super Yorda, found inspiration in the stories of giants in Cornwall by 19th century English writer Robert Hunt. In one such story, the key to a giant's castle was hidden at the end of a narrow path only accessible at low tide. A narrow path, low tide, sounds like the sunken lake bed you fight Celosia in. There was undeniably some level of animosity towards the naysayers. Every couple of pages, someone would pop up in the thread to say, "Hey, I love this game as much as you do, but you're wasting your time here. There's nothing left." And these sentiments would be met with strong rebukes that no, there was something. In fact, there was a lot of evidence that there was something, and if they weren't there to help, they could get out. My favorite one of these interactions is
because if they do in fact get something, that's gonna be
user Jokaz Wild 2
they do find
writes,
something.
After 3 years, you would think someone would have found it by now. What makes you all think this is even real? That there really is a big secret? I guess I just need some convincing. I see all these theories, but has anyone actually found anything more than a theory?
That's gonna
and
be
almost
real
immediately,
questions.
Crocodile
That's what I'm saying.
If you want to believe it, don't come to the thread. It's the same thing with a church. If you don't believe in God, don't come.
Damn.
No one wants you here if you're just going to say, proof, proof, I want proof. Just leave the ones who want to search for the secret search. Whether or not it exists, it does not matter.
Damn, he
They
got
have
hella
something to believe
defensive.
in, and that is all they need.
Okay.
If you think the secret seekers are wasting their time,
this
then
is some like
that is
cold
nice
stuff
for
right
you.
here.
Goodbye.
They have something to believe in, and that is all they need.
That's
What an unbelievably self-aware thing to say, right?
facts.
The Secret Seekers were still going 100 plus
that's how good this
pages
game
in
is,
with
apparently.
no new evidence, but they believed. Is it going too far to say that these Seekers embodied the same mentality as Wander, the protagonist of Colossus? Refusing to take the obvious answer, digging deeper and deeper into the unknown to find a truth they demanded exist? On August 28, 2008, a new user named Peacall appeared on the thread with an enigmatic first post. A link to a YouTube video on his own account saying, "Watch this, guys. You'll find it quite interesting."
What is this?
The YouTube channel has since been terminated, but it's obvious from the forum's reaction that Peacall's discoveries were different than the thousands of previous posts.
Why is that?
He was standing in impossible locations, clipping through impenetrable walls, throwing himself all over the map. Peacall was emulating. And for the Church of the Secret Seekers, Peacall was at once an unbelievable gift and a crisis of faith. Because for the first time, they had someone who could actually pull back the curtain. The thread had been chipping away for months and months at the most obstinate pieces of the game's geometry. And now Peacall, like a god, could walk
at him
through
writing.
solid
Look
rock
at the way he's
and
writing
prove
too.
definitively that there was nothing. We have to finally face the music. There is no 17th Colossus.
Yeah, there was nothing.
There's nothing beyond the door in Celosia's arena.
I called
no
it.
way to ride a hawk.
That was still pretty cool what he was doing.
But does that mean there's no last great secret? Well, here's the thing. Did Peacall kill the god of the Secret Seekers cult? Kinda, yeah. But what he offered instead was almost as good. Boundless technical information about the world of Shadow of the Colossus. Pikol was quickly joined by the still active Nomad Colossus, and together they comprehensively mapped the Forbidden Lands in a way that had never been done before. There was disappointment.
Fair enough.
Sure, it turns out that the theory of intersecting points was a bust, and the Dorman hole didn't hide much of anything, but there's amazing stuff too. Far outside the bounds of the game, Pikol found an enormous dam, beautifully constructed
Oh,
and
you're right.
entirely
That looks
unused.
so badass.
Nomad went on to discover mountain ranges, plateaus, great glitchy plains, and expanses of oceans. Things never before seen.
Hey,
And the
we got
beautiful
some.
thing about that original
We got
forum
something.
thread is it kept going. For hundreds of pages it kept going. Some still hoped for the last great secret, but most everyone was really in it for the knowledge now, to put together every last piece of data possible on this piece of art they all loved so much.
Teamwork makes the dream work, baby.
Shadow of the Colossus kept on giving far after its creators ever expected it to. I adore the dedication. I especially love all those attempts
Yeah,
to
me
connect
too.
it
That
to
was
the
pretty
Bible,
sick.
to Hercules, to Robert Hunt, because although they didn't ultimately result in a 17th Colossus, that's literary analysis, baby. That's basically all I do on this channel. People pay schools thousands of dollars to get classes in making these kinds of connections.
Yup.
And here are
Been
forum
there,
users
done
with a Crash
that.
Bandicoot icon learning how to do it with a PS2 game. Nomad
I heard this
Colossus,
game came out on
probably
the
most
PS2.
dedicated of anyone,
Crazy.
has unearthed an incredible wealth of information on the game. He's found the probable locations of all 24 originally planned Colossi. He's investigated demo
wish I
discs,
would-
unearthed unused
I
items.
bet there's
His
like some
plotting
information
of the
on the
geography is
cutout
so
times,
complete
right?
for reference footage. And when the game came out, Bluepoint, the team that made it, actually thanked him in the credits. Special thanks, Nomad Colossus. And
Fair enough.
the 79 steps to enlightenment? Whoa, look, we've gone down this road before. That last search was fun, for sure, but let's not go
Yes,
jumping to
70.
conclusions about random numbers. We've been burned before. But, like, if they were, that... Okay, fuck it, what are the 79 steps? Hidden
79
around the
steps,
Forbidden
yeah, I don't
Lands,
know.
newly realized and pristine current-gen graphics are tiny gold sparks, fireflies maybe, or elusive coins. Get near enough to one and you'll get a subtle wind chime sound. Get closer and you can collect it. Not marked on the map, not referenced in any game text, but they're there. Finding even one feels like a freak
I
accident.
did not mean it. I did not find
Nomad
any.
Colossus. And the 79 steps to enlightenment.
What?
For one final time, scour the Forbidden Lands, chart every cave, scale every mountain, every toppled tree matters, every twist of the
Whoa,
coast.
what?
This was it. 13 years later, 560 pages of forum threads, every square
They
foot
added this in
of
the remake and I
beautiful
never
barren
found these.
landscape examined. And at the end of it all, 79 steps to enlightenment. To open this never open door, to descend into this untouched chamber below the shrine of worship. Take a minute to reflect on the fact that this is exactly
Wait, is this real?
what the Secret Seekers wanted. Just a little more, just one final mystery to solve, is a manifestation of that continued will. Here is a community that was so willing to just believe that more than a decade on, a group of developers took their energy and harnessed it into something real. And what is the last great secret? It's a hidden chamber with a throne and a sword. It's not that much. But also, it's everything.
It's amazing. There's no way that's real. Yo, this game even better now than the first and only time I've played it. Wow.